Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to, really get into the details of things that matter. And today we've got a fascinating source, really compelling stuff. So our mission for this deep dive, it's really to unpack this incredible story. You've got an African-American woman, Cheryl Mills, who's built, 400 homes in Ghana. But, it's bigger than just the houses. We want to explore the kind of surprising opportunities there, the real impact. And yeah, the challenges, too, of investing and partnering in Africa. It feels like it's sparking a bit of a revolution, maybe a quiet one.
Yeah, absolutely. What really grabs you about this is how it shows that smart investment, strategic investment, but when it's tied really closely with community partnership, like genuinely, it can create just massive change, transformative change. And it really makes you question, those old ideas about where the big global opportunities are. It highlights this flow of knowledge, innovation. There's definitely not just one way anymore.
Okay. Let's get into it then. We really have to start with Cheryl Mills' message, that direct message to African Americans in the interview. It's pretty powerful. She says, and I'm quoting here, if you come to the continent, your transformation will begin because you won't expect what you see and you won't believe the opportunity that's present here. And once you can come, everything is possible.
Okay.
I mean, wow, that's not just like come visit, is it? It feels much deeper, like a call to, reconsider everything.
It absolutely lands that way. And understanding the why behind it is key, I think. She explicitly says her main goal, her motivation, is actually to get other Americans investing in Africa. She noticed, fewer American investors compared to folks from other places.
Right.
And for her, choosing to invest there herself, well, she says it was deeply personal, tied to her own heritage and my own history. She saw this promise that maybe others weren't seeing.
Right. And her background is interesting, too, helps understand that perspective. She grew up internationally.
Yeah, Germany, France, Belgium.
And then worked at a high level for President Clinton. So she's seen things from different angles. But her core driver, as she puts it, seems to be about wanting to change people's lives, to give back, creating endeavors that matter. So it's definitely mission-driven, not just business.
Exactly. It's got that purpose behind it.
And that really seems to click with Wode Maya's slogan, right? Make Africa home again. Mills seems to really embrace that idea, this whole concept of people returning or connecting, bringing new experiences, new learnings. It feels like part of a bigger trend, something that's gathering momentum.
That idea is powerful,
yeah.
Connecting home. But okay, how do you actually make that happen on the ground? How do you take that vision and build something real? And that's where Black Ivy's whole approach, their foundation, is so interesting. She mentioned they started with humility when she first got to Ghana back in 2014, just this core belief. We don't know what we don't know. Simple but profound, right? So the strategy was basically, first, learn. Then, partner locally. Really try to understand and reflect the community's values, their needs, their goals. That focus, that partnership and willingness to learn first. That's, I think, what really makes their investment model stand out. It's not the typical top-down thing.
Okay, so starting from that humility, that partnership, they've built some pretty tangible things. The most obvious, I guess, is the real estate side. Indigo Homes in Ghana. Let's look at those specifics. So Cheryl Mills, through Black Ivy, built Indigo Homes. She's behind IUSA Park 2. And Wode Maya mentions standing there in Aura Park, that's one community of 200 homes, that altogether she's built 400 homes in Ghana. That includes Aura Park and IUSA Park.
400 homes, yeah.
And the defining feature for Indigo Homes, she says, is the greenery. They really focus on green spaces, amenities, try and make people actually love where they live, create a real sense of like, this is my own village.
Right. It's not just about the four walls. It's the space around it, the feel of it. Mills emphasizes that. She says, it is more like a community-based village. They want people to feel like, I have a beautiful home and I have a beautiful community, a beautiful neighborhood. It's holistic.
Yeah, building a lifestyle, not just selling units.
Exactly.
And they're scaling up, right?
The next big project is Greenwich Park. This one sounds huge. A 270 home estate, and it's pretty close to East Legon, only 15 minutes away. They're offering 2, 3, 4-bedroom townhouses. It says premium finishes, parks, clubhouse, pool, trails, the works.
Oh.
And guaranteed delivery times, too.
That guarantee is a big selling point in many markets.
For sure. And they had this early bird promo. Sounds like it went fast. Only 13 units left out of an extended batch of 30 when the interview was done. The prices mentioned were around $168,500 for a 2-bed, $210 for a 3-bed, $240K for a 4-bed.
Yeah.
And the payment plan seemed pretty accessible, 25% down, but payment spread over up to 36 months. You could even lock a unit with a $5,000 reservation fee. So they're trying to make it feasible for people. That payment structure helps a lot.
Definitely. But Black Ivy isn't just real estate, is it? They're doing other things across Africa.
No, not at all. It's quite diverse, actually.
Right.
Addressing some really fundamental needs.
Like what?
Well, in East Africa, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, they've got big cold logistics. That's a cold chain platform, super important.
Cold chain. So like refrigerated transport and storage.
Exactly. For everything from vaccines, which we know is critical, to food, helping farmers get produce to market, supplying quick serve restaurants. They even do some food production themselves, like frozen fries.
Wow. Okay. That's tackling food security and logistics. And then in Ghana.
In Ghana, their healthcare investment is Luca Health.
Luca Health. What's the story there?
It sounds like it's making a real difference. They mentioned advances in minimally invasive surgery, which is huge. And it managed to operate sustainably even through COVID, which is impressive for any healthcare facility. The goal is accessible, affordable, high-quality care. And interestingly, she notes it's not just for Ghanaians. It's attracting the diaspora, people from all over looking for good care.
Okay, so housing, food logistics, healthcare, these are pretty foundational sectors.
Exactly. They're strategically targeting these vital gaps in infrastructure and services. And here's something I found fascinating, that reciprocal knowledge flow she talked about.
What do you mean?
Well, we usually think of expertise flowing from, the West or developed countries to emerging markets.
Yeah.
But Mills pointed out that things they learned, innovations developed at Luca Health in Ghana, were actually so useful, they were later applied to help an American company back in the U.S.
Really? That flips the script, doesn't it?
It really does. It challenges that whole one-way street idea of expertise and shows innovation bubbling up everywhere, a sign of maybe where things are headed.
Okay, so they're doing all this impactful work, these diverse projects. But the big question always comes up. How hard is it, really? Is investing in Africa, easy?
Huh? Yeah, the million-dollar question.
And Cheryl Mills is refreshingly honest about it. She flat out admits it's hard. Says it's not for the faint-hearted, calls it a different environment in which to operate. That's pretty blunt for a CEO leading successful projects there.
It is, and appreciated, I think. She gets specific, too. Like, she mentioned that starting a business in Ghana, at least previously, required this huge capital investment, $500,000.
$500,000 just to start.
Yeah. Compare that to, say, setting up an LLC online in the U.S. for a few $100, or even simpler processes in other African nations now. That's a massive barrier.
Definitely.
And it raises that bigger point, right? What can governments actually do? What concrete steps can they take to streamline things, remove those kinds of roadblocks, and basically make it easier for investment to come in?
It's a critical question. But Mills also talks about things that help, right? The softening factors, she calls them.
Yeah, crucial point, top of her list, having a local partner, someone who truly understands the nuances, who can guide you through the things that you just don't understand and that you don't know.
That partnership piece, again, seems central to everything they do.
Absolutely. And she implies that countries can actively make themselves more appealing by, looking honestly at their own specific barriers and working to dismantle them.
So why Ghana for Black Ivy? What made them commit despite the challenges?
She said their breakthrough really came down to their commitment to Ghana specifically. They chose it very deliberately. They looked at its level of democracy, the welcoming people, an economy that was strengthening, plus natural advantages like having a port. They analyzed it and decided, okay, this is the best place to be in West Africa for what they wanted to do. And that deep belief, that commitment helped them power through the tough early stages.
Okay, so it's hard, requires commitment, local partners are key. But what about the payoff? Not just financially, but like the personal reward. What does success look like for Cheryl Mills?
That's where her mission-driven side really comes through again. She said success is about knowing that people are living a better life because of the contributions that we're able to make. It boils down to, did something matter in someone's life? Did it matter in the community? Did it matter in the country? That's the yardstick.
That's a powerful way to measure success. And the tangible results are there, aren't they? She mentioned employment figures.
Yeah, she said Black Ivy has employed thousands of people across all their sectors, construction, healthcare, manufacturing, and logistics chain.
Thousands of jobs. That's a concrete impact.
Absolutely. So if you sort of tie it all together, yes, there are real challenges. It's not easy. But Mills argues that the process itself, investing and operating in Africa, teaches you new skills and you gain new muscles. And importantly, she adds, those muscles have value all over the world. It makes you a better operator, period.
So the difficulty itself builds valuable experience.
Exactly. And ultimately, she finds it incredibly rewarding. Her conviction is clear. She firmly believes Africa is the future. Not just a future, but the future. That the energy, the growth, the innovation, it's shifting. She says there's so much here to be learned.
That's a bold statement. Africa as the future.
It is. And it challenges, again, those assumptions about where global leadership and learning will come from in the decades ahead.
It really makes you think.
Yeah.
And Cheryl Mills's final thought in the interview kind of sums up that whole rewarding aspect, doesn't it? She says, there's few purer joys than having the chance to do things that matter and that make a difference, and to do it with people who have both the ingenuity and the commitment and the partnership to want to drive to the same outcome.
That really captures it, the combination of purpose, impact, and genuine partnership. So thinking about Black Ivy's whole journey, the humility, the partnerships, tackling diverse sectors, the challenges, the rewards, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? What opportunities might you be overlooking? Maybe not just in places like Ghana, but even, in your own backyard, your own community. How could embracing that kind of humility, that focus on real local partnership, like Mills did, how could that unlock unexpected potential in whatever you're trying to build or achieve? What's the big takeaway, the most important nugget you're thinking about after hearing this?